What shouldn't we do? This is the question I want to discuss today in this recording, using the capabilities of my mind and getting to a deeper understanding of this specific topic, maybe even reality itself. Let's see how this will go. Yeah, probably you will ask yourself many times what to do. What should I do today? What should I do this year? What should I do with my life? These are important questions. But often it is even more important to ask yourself, what should you not do? What shouldn't you do? Because some things are better be left undone. You probably don't want to test jumping off this high bridge, because you can only do it once, and then this is it with your life. But the same thing also applies to humanity as a whole. And I already did a recording where I talked about the awakening of the human collective consciousness. So you can check that out if you didn't watch it, or if that's interesting to you. If not, just continue watching here. Yes, and I explained there that the internet in itself is the awakening of the collective consciousness. So, but you can also expand on this idea, because not only is it represented in this virtual world, which is the internet that we are all part of now, but also it is something happening inside of us, and then also something that is happening in a collective. And what I believe is a part of it is that humanity is reaching a point where we basically have godlike powers. And that is thinking for a moment, because it's quite an intense thing to say, that we are becoming like gods actually. And I think this is not too hard to argue, because if you look at the technology that we already developed, the easiest one would be the atomic bomb, or even a fusion bomb. We even are capable of literally using the power of a star. We can artificially create it and let it explode on this planet. So we can create a sun out of nothing on this earth. And if this is not godlike power, then please tell me what is. And the destructive power of it is unreal. And now you could argue, was this a good idea to develop this kind of power on the level of development that we have as a species? I think I didn't watch the movie, but I think Christopher Nolan and Oppenheimer got deep into this philosophical thought and discussion in his movie, as far as what I know about it. I didn't watch it in detail, but I think this is kind of the conclusion too of the movie, that we maybe destroyed ourselves with the invention of the atomic bomb. We are in the process of it. You could argue maybe this is the case, and it's just a matter of time till it will be used, and then we will all end in a nuclear flame, basically. So was it a good idea? Maybe we should not have developed it. But for now, we are all still there. No nuclear end of the world yet, at least. But we are developing new technologies that, in my perspective, are even more dangerous than the atomic bombs that we already created. And this is artificial intelligence. The way it is right now created, where we are really imaging ourselves in some way, because I would say what it is, what they're trying to create here is also, again, the collective human consciousness, or mind better. It's not really the consciousness, it's the collective human mind. So we create the power of all of our minds into one singular technology. If it's then conscious or not, who knows, but it's not even that relevant actually, because what is relevant about it is the potential power and also unpredictability that comes with it. And I would argue you should not develop this technology. Neither are we ready, nor maybe is it ever the point where you should do it. But at this point in the state of development of humanity, no. And let's come back to the original question. Like, what shouldn't we do? Because why would I connect it to the gods, basically? Yeah, what are the gods? This is it's a vague concept in some way. You could say many things about it. You could say, yeah, okay, these are beings of, first of all, immortality. I think is very important. So they are infinite. So this is extremely important. And I will come to this, to the concept of infinity later, because it's important for the discussion here. Then also they have incredible powers. I think at this point, like I started the discussion, you could argue that as a collective, at least, we already have these kind of godlike powers. If you would like go back into the antique or even the Middle Ages and then bombard them with these ballistic missiles that we have now, they would say the stars are falling from heaven. It must be the gods. And it looks like this. If you look at this video of ballistic missiles flying and destroying buildings, it's unbelievable. It looks like exactly like the stars would fall from heaven. And if you would not know about the technology, if you would be, I don't know, a tribe village in the Amazon, they still exist, and you would bombard them with them, they would say it's the gods that do this. Or the same, like if you would fly like these helicopters or drones that we're having now, the airplanes, the most advanced ones, how is this not godlike powers? You can fly through the air. Yeah, unbelievable. So this is, I think we are already there, and it's interesting because Nietzsche, he's very famous from him, no? Probably you hear this about him, yeah, oh, God is dead, we killed him. And this is a very famous piece that he wrote about the death of God. And he argued there that at one point humanity, because we killed God, has to become like gods themselves. And I argue now that we are now on the verge of this development, where we becoming like the gods. That originally were like parents to us, our creators, if you want to believe that. And now we are reaching adulthood as a species, which means we are becoming now like the gods, with these incredible powers, and then maybe even infinity. Because the medicine is slowly reaching the point where we may stop aging, and then we immortal like the gods. Maybe that scares you, if I say this. Maybe the thought on itself is scary for you, and it better should be, because infinity is maybe one of the most scary things that there ever is. And if you're not scared about it, then you did not think about it too much. I would give you a challenge to contemplate the concept of infinity for an hour. Sit or lie down, maybe even on vacation, if you're on the beach, a very chill place, and then contemplate infinity. And if that doesn't scare you, then I would say there's something wrong with you, or maybe you cannot comprehend it. Because it is unbelievable scary, because you have infinite time suddenly. It changes the whole game, because what defined us, one thing I would argue that is the most fundamental definition of humanity, is our mortality. That you only have a finite time on this earth. It's so essential for the human experience, because that gives everything like how would you say it's a border in some way to your experience in your personal life too, because at one point you will go, and then it's only these 80 years that you have to structure your life around. But what if it's not 80 but 800 or 8,000 or 8 billion years that you are existing? Yeah, then you have to structure your existence a little differently. And for humanity, yeah, let's see, maybe if you reach the point that in some way we're becoming infinite. No? And even if that's not the case, if we don't reach immortality, it would be useful, from my perspective, to think of humanity, at least, if it's not for the individual, but the species humanity in an infinite way. And if it's not an infinite way, then at least for thousands of years. for everything that we do as a collective. And this comes back to the development of artificial intelligence. If you now think about the next 10,000 years of humanity, is it wise to develop this technology that we don't understand? None of the scientists or the businessmen that are creating this technology in this very moment that you're watching this video here understand it. And it is so obvious when you watch the interviews, when they talk about the topic. They have no clue what they're doing. It's absolutely ridiculous. They have no understanding. The concepts that are dreaming up, the paths they want to put us on are ridiculous. They are all hell. Why would you do it? Why would you create your own hell? It's ridiculous. It's the same thing on an individual level, like, the jumping from the bridge one is maybe not too accurate. Maybe I think of a better example, but it's definitely a path you would not go. I once made the example, I think, where I said, so you imagine, maybe, I don't know, maybe you have a family, but imagine you would have a family, a wife or a husband and a few children, and you're living in a house. So, and now you are building something in your basement with 10% probability it would be beneficial to your family. But even that you don't know for sure. Yeah. And with 90%, let's say with 70%, it would kill your whole family. And 20% chance it could create an infinite hell for your family. Would you build it? Yeah, of course not. Of course not. It's absolute madness. You lost your mind. If you would even try, you have lost your mind. And this is what we did as a species. We have lost our mind, our collective mind. We lost it. It's gone. And maybe you feel this right now, that there's a sense of insanity that goes around in the collective. Many people say it now. The whole world is getting crazy. Because, we are at the verge of becoming gods. And now to come back to the beginning of the video, that I believe one of the most important things that this brings with it is the question what not to do. Because if you become a god, or we as a collective, and we have these immense powers, these godlike powers, and also this infinity, then it is very important to know which path you will not go. And this is, I think, one of the main identities that comes with being a god, even if it's as a collective. Because the gods, if they are real, if you believe it or not, they could just come here and destroy everything. It's in their power. They could do it. Of course they could, because they are gods. But they are not doing it. So why are they not doing it? Because they're in infinity, and that implies that you have to live with the consequences of your actions forever. And then you will see very quickly that the real challenge of becoming godlike is not what to do, but it's what not to do, with which paths are invalid or lead to destruction or hell or whatever worse outcomes. This is the real challenge, and this is what we have to discuss together as a collective.